Hello everybody, I'm Hoardergamer, and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. If you haven't watched a show before, we've got comic books, games, toys, then we come back around the comic books, and that's pretty much the show. We usually start with a review, and that's what we're going to do right now. Outsiders #1 with a awesome John Cassaday variant cover of Batwoman. Kate Kane right there. So, the book is good, but it's more like let's go on an adventure and let's explore and find something really cool that leads into the next issue. So the thing that's most exciting is that Drummer is a character in here. So you have Luke Fox, you have Kate Kane, Lucius Fox, and Drummer. So in case you don't know who that is, Drummer's from Planetary. And that's really exciting. It's Lansing and Kelly, so two of the best comic book writers currently. They're actually a writing team. They currently do the Star Trek book for IDW, like the flagship main Star Trek book. And they did, I want to say Captain America recently. They're doing a lot of different books. They did the really cool Batman Beyond, I believe Batman Beyond Neo it was called. And there's been like 2 story arcs for that. They're on the second one right now. And yeah, basically Luke Fox recruits Kate to join up. And one thing she's, very specific about is this has nothing to do with Batman. This mission is not for Batman. And Luke says, no, this is just you and I. And then my father oversees everything, Lucius Fox. So, and there's this kind of fun moment where Lucius appears via hologram or whatever, 3-dimensional video to Kate, and she's like, my yes would have come quite a bit sooner if you showed up, Lucius. So definitely showing the really cool relationship that Kate Kane and Lucius Fox happen to have. She just doesn't know Luke, his son, quite as well as Lucius. And they find this bizarre, ship that's in the middle of I believe the Atlantic Ocean, and it's this entity. It's not fully explained, but you can tell that it's going to be very important. It's cool. It's very cool. I also don't want to give away too much. I already said quite a bit. But yeah, Outsiders 1 is good. I think it's very exciting to see where it leads with Planetary and everything like that. That's awesome. And I was very surprised that Drummer was a member of the team. That was interesting. But yeah, if you're a fan of Batwoman, the TV show, you got Luke here, you've got Kate, so you get a bit of that. But there wasn't any fighting. You found out that Luke Fox's, I guess you'd say, quote unquote, ability, because Drummer can speak to history. His ability was basically to calm down the unknown entity and to basically get it to trust the rest of the team. And that was really neat. So if you're looking forward to fisticuffs and shooting and things like that, this specific book, issue 1, will not give you that. But it does give you a good story, and it opens up an interesting world outside of, rooftop battles and things like that. So, Outsiders #1, again, with a really cool John Cassaday variant cover right there of Batwoman. I like that cover a lot, actually. I might have shown that cover last week when I showed what was coming out for this week. So. Okay, everybody. We are done with our first comic book review. So that takes us to video games. The amazing, magical world of video games. And after about 8 or 9 months of radio silence, on Monday, WB Games basically said, hey, this Wednesday, check out the first episode of a series of videos we're going to do for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They're promoting it again. And I can only assume that they saw one of my videos which actually gave them, explicit permission to start marketing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I can only assume they saw one of those. I've done like 3 takes of it, so here on Hoarder's Comic Flicks. So anyway, let us talk about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So they had a really cool 20-minute video today, and I took some notes, some very specific notes, and also I caught a couple things in the FAQ that I mentioned on Twitter that I haven't seen a lot of people mention. It could be just incorrect wording on the FAQ, but right now, being that's frequently asked, or answers to frequently asked questions, we have to kind of go with, it's probably correct. Okay, so first up, we find out that the traversal gear that you have for your characters is actually stolen from the Hall of Justice. One of the first things you do in the game, apparently, is you and the squad infiltrate the Hall of Justice. And you don't know that's what it is. You end up there and you're like, oh, this is where we were sent. And let's see here. Well, you can change members of the squad, but not immediately. You can change them between missions. So if you feel this mission would benefit someone like Harley Quinn or King Shark, then you might want to change from Boomer or Deadshot to one of those characters. And if you find out the mission's too difficult, or you think like, oh, they would be a better choice, I'm pretty certain you can probably just back out of said mission and then choose a different character. You just can't on the fly move between the 4 of them instantly. That's something you just can't currently do. I mean, maybe if enough people want it, they'll figure out a way to make that happen eventually, but at launch, it's not going to be a thing. Okay. You'll notice a lot of very humorous banter between these squad members, and I think that King Shark is going to steal the show. King Shark, just in this like 20 minutes of gameplay and story stuff that they showed, had a lot of great lines and a lot of great reactions, and he's also going to be the most resilient, the toughest member of the squad, so he can take the most punishment. Okay, now one of the reasons we found out, if you're watching this video very carefully, was that the reason you have the 4 players and not just one at a time if you're doing single player is because there are group actions that are signified by member-specific symbols. So Harley gets a diamond, Deadshot gets crosshairs, Captain Boomerang gets a boomerang, of course, and King Shark gets a fin, a shark fin. And you see a point where all 4 characters push against the door to open it. But it's a really insanely big door. It's like in the Hall of Justice in order to get out of it. So that I'm sure they have that happening all throughout the game, where you kind of like team up, because it's, a team-based type of game. Even though you can do single player, you'll still have a team of 4 members of the Suicide Squad. Or, you can also have just 4 players, you and then 3 online players playing other members that fill out the squad. Okay, so the different abilities or traversal abilities are Dr. Sivana's Speed Force Gauntlet. Captain Boomerang gets that. Bat Grapple and Bat Glider. That goes to Harley Quinn. Gizmo's Jetpack. So we find out the jetpack is actually Gizmo, or Gizmo made it. And Deadshot will be using that. And King Shark, innately, because he's also like a god named Nanaue, he can innately like leap, float, fly by like flapping his arms. It's pretty funny. Okay, and early on we find out that you meet Green Lantern. In fact, he seems to be the first member of the Suicide Squad you meet, unless that very first trailer with Superman is somehow before that, but it doesn't seem to be. Anyway, you meet Green Lantern, and the Flash shows up, but this Flash is not corrupted yet. This Flash actually tries to stop Green Lantern, and Green Lantern is looking to turn or corrupt Flash. So you get to see him as an actual member of the Justice League first, which I thought was really neat. We find out Penguin is an anti-meta weapon arms dealer. So he sells weapons that can actually take out supes, or, you know, metas. And that's why Waller wants the squad to recruit Penguin. Then they got into specifics, and it sounds like certain members of the squad fare better with certain weapons, or they might be limited to only using these specific weapons. So Captain Boomerang will use sniper rifles, SMGs, and shotguns. Harley basically focuses on acrobatics and using her baseball bat. They didn't really talk about specific guns that she uses. Now, King Shark, death from above, because he's like really imposing, and he has this like crazy thing where he like rolls up into a ball and then smashes down on the ground. He uses heavy weapons, assault rifles, and shotguns. And like I mentioned earlier, he's the toughest member of the squad, and he uses like cleavers or dual blade weapons. I almost said dull blade weapons, but no, just dual. And then Deadshot is all about vantage points, and he's got his wrist cannons and sniper rifles, assault rifles, and pistols. So that's what he uses. Then there's also a juggle attack that you use in order to cause more damage to enemies, and that looked cool. What I was really impressed with is counter shot. So they took the idea of counter that's been in the Arkham Batman games and applied it to a shooter. So basically, there's what looks like a ring of lightning bolts, and you interact by like countering when you see that, and it can cause an enemy to be stunned, shocked, or it can very much stop the enemy, the opponent, and anger them. And then you're able to move on from there with the fight. So those are all like the notes that I thought were really interesting and the ones I wanted to focus on from the 20-minute video. So we got that. And we got some images here. One second here. They put out a whole mess of really nice images. So you've seen that one, but there's also a really cool like version without any color, kind of like a black and white version, or almost monochrome or whatever. That's really neat. So there's that right there. But they have an even neater picture that has to do with the deluxe version of the game, and that is right here. Take a look at this. You get the Superman King Shark outfit. You get the Harley Quinn Wonder Woman outfit. You get the Deadshot Batman based outfit. And you get, for Captain Boomerang, of course, you get a Flash type outfit. So that's the Justice League outfits that come with the deluxe edition of the game. Plus, you get, 3 Black Mask weapons. You get Squad Gold weapon dolls. Like, I think they're kind of making fun of the Squad Goals type of thing with Squad Gold. And then you get a Battle Pass token and you get a special type of coloring that's kind of like just pencils without ink, if you're thinking of it like a comic book. Plus 3 days early access. You play on January 30th. So, yeah. And the digital deluxe version will actually have 4 rogue outfits. So you actually get rogue skins for the Justice League members. And I noticed something that I talked about in the FAQ. And they word it differently in 2 different places. So I'm not exactly sure until they like verify what is going on with it. But what I noticed is that, one second here, it's switching into pictures. Okay. So there's 2 versions. The $69.99, that's the basic version, and that's going to come with, you know, the pre-order suits. Now, here it says with this part, post-launch seasonal updates and earnable characters to expand the story with new missions, items, and more available at no additional cost. Okay? So, based on how that is written, you could assume, and it wouldn't be crazy looking at other games as a service, that while the new characters that are playable are earnable, if you didn't want to go through the process of earning said character, that you could speed that up by purchasing said character. Based on that wording, it's difficult to say. And then the wording gets even more confusing in the FAQ when it's asked about how do like microtransactions work or what are you able to purchase in game. So I'm not sure, because you could look at that as saying that the story, the missions, items, and more are available at no additional cost. Okay? And technically, by earning a character, that's available at no additional cost as well. But by signaling out with the word earnable character, it very much sounds like what like Wayfinder does. It sounds like what Warframe does, where yes, you can earn characters, you can earn frames with Warframe, but you can also purchase them outright. So, not sure on that. I'm not upset about that. Let me explain why. Something I agree with Miller, and I want to say that Lejeune came to the same opinion of it. You need money in order to make content. And if you're just selling skins, yes, a lot of people will buy certain skins for Harley, maybe a few for King Shark, a few for Boomer. You know, I'm sure people will purchase skins, right? I'm sure some people will end up doing the battle pass. But to do really good content, like something like an expansion in like Destiny, you need to have an ongoing revenue source. So if selling the characters to people that want them immediately as soon as they drop without having to earn them is a way they do that, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't have an issue with that, because I would much rather have them be able to support the game strongly after 1 year than to kind of, you know, be running on fumes. Like Marvel's Avengers, after the awesome War for Wakanda expansion, and then shortly thereafter, I believe, was Spider-Man, there wasn't that much that came to the game. And a lot of the devs were no longer really working on it. They were working on other games at Crystal Dynamics, and including Tomb Raider. And they just didn't have an ongoing revenue source. Like, the outfits that were really popular with Marvel's Avengers, the big, really popular outfits were, of course, the MCU outfits, which were not even available at launch. Like, I think the first ones came in like March or May, after the game came out in September of 2020, I believe. And in like March or May, something like that, is when the MCU outfits came out. So it was quite a bit later. So, but yeah, I think what was shown, it looks awesome. I already thought the game looked really good, and now that they showed these story elements and explain how the traversal works, not so much as to how they traverse, we kind of knew that, but the details as to where they got these abilities from, and working in these little tidbits, like seeing holograms of the Justice League inside the Hall of Justice. Very cool stuff. Very cool. And yeah, I'm very excited for the game. I know a lot of people, I don't mind people being a little apprehensive. I totally get that. But there is still unbridled hate for this game. Like, it's kind of insane. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know where to begin. Harley Quinn's a really popular character, you know? King Shark got really popular with the movie The Suicide Squad, and has always been an interesting character, like in the Flash TV series that was on the CW and everything. So, yeah, and Deadshot's always been interesting. So, I hope it does well. I hope it does well. And we're going to be able to see more of these episodes. I don't know if they'll all be like 20 minutes or anything, but like talking about the different elements of the game. And keep in mind, we got vehicles in this game. They didn't get into any of that. So that'll be interesting to see exactly how that works. Hopefully it's the same operating principles that Arkham Knight had with the Batmobile Bat Tank. Because that was awesome. Like, driving around Gotham was great. I want to say that Criterion helped Rocksteady, the Need for Speed people. Yeah, I was really, really happy with how that worked in Arkham Knight, and I hope the vehicles will be very similar here. So, okay. Next up, that was pretty much all the video game news this week. I kind of wanted to focus on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because, yeah, it's been so long since we've heard anything. Now, while there's a lot of negativity, and not just, like I said, like unbridled hate, it did seem overall like people were happier with what they saw today, or more excited by it. Okay, everybody, now we're done with games. It's time for us to toy around. And first up we have... Get ready, everybody, because this is kind of connected to toys and games. Transformers Reactivate. 2 packs. So there's 2 of them. Each one is like $62. And the first one is Starscream and Bumblebee, and I think that both look really good. Like, it's a very cool looking take on the G1 design, but it's still its own thing. And I think that in the game, you'll be happy to actually be playing these characters because of how good they look. So yeah, there's 2 packs. This is the first one, and the second one is right here. Optimus Prime and Soundwave. Now, some people will be a little disappointed here. In this game, it wouldn't make sense to have Soundwave turn into a cassette player, even though he has the really cool looking G1 based design right there, as does Optimus. He turns into kind of a truck. Not a semi, more like a van type truck. Looks cool, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna, upset some super hardcore Soundwave fans, I'm sure. But yeah, these are the 2 packs that are available. You can pre-order them. I believe they ship in February. So hopefully we'll hear some news really soon about the actual game, Transformers Reactivate. Because like we heard something, I want to say either at the Game Awards or near that time frame last year, and then we heard like nothing. So, but yeah, these designs are great. I really like the Optimus and the Soundwave, and I really like the Starscream and the Bumblebee. I think they both look really good. I'm going to send these 2 back to Cybertron. It did not like the overlapping of pictures. I know that now. I know now that it did not like the overlapping of pictures. That was interesting. Okay, and next up, our final toy for this week. Because like one toy I was going to tell you about, you can't even get anymore. He was announced today, pre-orders went live, he's sold out already. Captain Carrot. One of the more bizarre characters from DC Comics, part of the Zoo crew. And it's like Superman is a rabbit in kind of a yellow outfit, and it sold out immediately. It sold out at Big Bad Toy Store, sold out at Entertainment Earth. I don't know if Amazon even got the pre-orders yet. Amazon's been kind of weird about pre-orders today. Like, they should have had Captain Carrot, and also, last time I checked, like a half hour to an hour before this show, they didn't even have Suicide Squad available physically for pre-order. The Canadian version of Amazon did, but not the United States version. So, but look at this, everybody. Superman with the freaking mullet and Crypto. And Crypto as well. Plus, there is a chase version where they're both like, I guess you'd say, polluted by kryptonite. So they have like a greenish coloring to both of them. So, but yeah, I thought this one was really cool. I like this Superman. I like this Crypto. I think it looks really nice. This is one of the collector's ones, though. So it's like $29.99 for the 2-pack, I guess you'd say. There we go. And I sent them back to Metropolis. Now, everybody, we are going to look at the future of comic books. The future all the way to 1 week from today. And first up, we have Carnage #1. Now, the reason this is a big deal is because Cletus Cassidy is coming back as Carnage. Carnage has kind of been jumping around a little bit. Might have heard of the whole like Red Goblin thing with Norman Osborn, and even the Carnage series that was like before this issue 1 had some stuff like that going on. Well, now there's only been one place where the Carnage symbiote has felt at home, and that is with insane mass murdering serial killer Cletus Cassidy. So Carnage #1 comes out next week. Next up, we have Dracula #2. James Tynion IV, my good man. It's his issue 2 of his take on Dracula. And for me, I was finally able to get a copy of issue 1. Issue 1 sold out almost immediately because it was the week of Halloween. And it was gone in a flash. So I was happy to finally get one, and I read it last week. And it's really good. It's very much taken from Bram Stoker's Dracula. But what's so striking is the artwork. There's some gorgeous artwork of Renfield, Dracula, these awesome 2-page spreads. It's really good. It's really cool looking and beautiful looking. And yeah, so here's Dracula issue 2. This is another difficult book to get, but for a different reason. It's Mad Cave Comics, and Mad Cave is like a somewhat smaller imprint, so not every store is going to have tons of copies of their books. But this is The Devil That Wears My Face, #2, and look at that completely insane variant cover there. This is by David Pepose. And yeah, issue 1 was really wild. Basically, you have a Catholic priest that goes to exorcise a demon. Only a Freaky Friday thing then happens, where the priest is trapped in the body of the person that was holding the demon, and the demon is now loose inside the priest. So you have the priest screaming in a mental institution, "I'm not this person, I'm Father," and trying to tell people he's a priest, while, and this is where it gets interesting, the priest that now has the devil in him is in the Vatican wreaking havoc. So yeah, it's been really good, and it's only been 1 issue so far. The Devil That Wears My Face. Plus, it's such a great title, I heard the title and it got me right there. I was like, that sounds really cool. And it has been, at least, the first issue has been. Yeah, like for me, I had to actually, and I go to actually one of the larger comic book stores in Wisconsin, Lost World of Wonders. For me, I actually had to order a special copy of that issue. Of the first issue. It's just not a book they normally have extras of outside of like preview orders. Maybe now they will, because I think some other people wanted it too. So I guess we'll see. This is an interesting mini-series right here. Batman Off-World #1. This is a Batman that is very early in his career of crime fighting, and all of a sudden he's thrust into an adventure involving aliens, and it sounds really awesome. And there's like been previews going around. It's like the first 4 or 5 pages of the issue. It looks really good. There's a good chance I'll actually review issue 1 of this next week. Again, I can't promise, because something could happen. The book may not even ship. It's hard to even say. But yeah, there's a good chance I will actually review Batman Off-World #1. Okay, everybody. We are not quite done yet. We have another comic book review. And it is a book that has been anticipated for a number of months now. Superior Spider-Man #1. That's right, Dr. Otto Octavius as Spider-Man, a continuation to that story arc, written by Dan Slott. Okay, so it's really neat to see Peter working with Bailey, also known as Spider-Boy, and basically showing him the webs. See, instead of the ropes, because there's, spider. Showing him the webs of what it takes to be a hero. And there's this great moment where like he treats Bailey to some ice cream, and Bailey thinks he's like, completely safe with Peter on top of the building. So he starts taking his mask completely off, and Peter's spider sense goes off. And he says, Don't do that. You'd be on the Jumbotron or whatever they had in Times Square. So that was pretty neat. It was like this interesting moment where Peter, knows how things are with like the paparazzi and the media and everything like that, and basically saves Bailey from giving up his identity. So that's cool. Estrella shows up, also known as Supernova, and wreaks havoc because she thinks that Peter is Superior Spider-Man. Her whole thing, her animosity, her anger is with Dr. Otto Octavius, not Peter Parker. But she doesn't realize that. And there's this cool moment where Peter's like, okay, this is a supervillain. Bailey, you need to get out of here. You're not ready for a supervillain. He's trying to watch over Bailey because Spider-Boy is very new in the whole crime fighting thing. So he's trying to like protect him. And then we get more information on the whole idea that no one knows who Bailey is. Like Peter doesn't remember him or anything like that. The reason being is because the Spider-Man that Bailey worked with is actually Doc Ock. He worked with Superior Spider-Man. And there's a cool moment with Doc Ock where he gets angry at Bailey and he's about to lash out and actually hit him. And he has this moment where he flashes back real briefly, Doc Ock does, to him being abused as a child. And he says, I will not hit a kid. So you do see all throughout even the original version of Superior Spider-Man and this version of Superior Spider-Man, or this follow-up, that he does have limits. Doc Ock has morals, he has limits. Even like he actually tried to earnestly, on some level, fight crime. But it's his way of doing that. So it's not quite the way a hero does it. And then there's this really cool backstory, like a secondary, shorter story involving Bailey. And this is back when he was working with who he thought was Spider-Man, but was actually the Superior Spider-Man. And they're going against Mr. Negative. So that was really cool too. And it kind of ties the threads together as to how like Bailey no longer ended up working with who he thought was Peter and ends up working like with the Avengers, or having kind of been taken in by the Young Avengers. It's very cool. So if you're a fan of the original, I really think you'll like this follow-up. I've enjoyed it very much. I hope to get the original. A lot of it's out of print unless you buy the big Absolute. And while, ultimately you're saving money buying the Absolute Edition, it's still, pricey. So there's that. Everybody, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Again, I'm Hoardergamer, and if for whatever reason you want more of me, twitch.tv/Hoardergamer. Also, J-Kun Prime and I will be doing a new show. I don't know if we solidified a real full title yet, so I don't want to say it right now. But yes, that's going to be on Sunday, and it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So definitely check that out. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the DSG channel or Doomkiller HD's channel. Keep in touch. Keep in touch on that one. Yeah, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I greatly appreciate it. I thank Doomkiller HD for again letting me borrow the channel here. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you like the show, tell other people. I'm not gonna like harp on like sub type of thing. That's just not how I am. But I want you to have a good week, everybody, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.